Welcome to Barca News. It is March 30th, 2026, and we have a major update in regards to the Spotify Camp Nou's construction. Also, Inter Milan resigned to losing Bastoni as they start their search for his replacement. And finally, serious interest in Dani Olmo. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Boo, and I'm officially back home. It's so good to be back home. More importantly, so good to be back here on the podcast, which, of course, by now you might know that it's on every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, where not only we discuss Barcelona news, but we also get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments and reacting to them live. So start dropping those comments in the comment section. I haven't done a podcast in, I think, close to 2 weeks since I was away from home. So it's definitely good to be back here doing this podcast. And it's good to be back in my YouTube studio because even though I was doing videos while I was away, it's not the same filming on a laptop than it is in my own setup. So it's really good to be back. And it's really good to be back here with you guys. As you know, by now, I already posted the Barca Femini video of my visit to the Estadio Johan Cruyff, where Barca Femini defeated Athletic Club Bilbao 7-1. Check that video out on the channel. I will be editing the Spotify Camp Nou video during this week, so I hope to have that video uploaded during this week, so stay tuned to that channel. Anyways, for those of you who will be watching when the podcast ends, I will be putting timestamps in the description and chapters in the timeline in case you do want to skip through the discussion and get straight into the news. Now, having said all that, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. All this helps the channel continue to grow. If you're looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure to Goal Kids, Kickback, or Fanatics. If you're looking to place any sports bets, make sure to bet us. All links are down below in the description. You click on them, you get access to some pretty cool deals and offers courtesy of Barca News. All right, let's dive right into the news. And as always, the first segment of news is comprised of multiple bits of news combined together for the sake of brevity. It started with the Spotify Camp Nou because we do have an update in regards to the Spotify Camp Nou because it's official. The third ring is done. Now, when I say done, I don't mean it's actually complete and it's going to open, but all the cement foundation has completely been installed in the third ring, as you can see in this picture. All that steps, all the cement, all that foundation is done. And now the next phase will be the construction will move into the conditioning and waterproofing. Because yes, it's not just enough to lay cement. You have to condition it and waterproof it. So when it rains, it doesn't leak to the lower levels. You guys remember those videos that came out of the Spotify Camp Nou flooding during the rain? And Madridistas were like, ha, the stadium is flooding. Ha, look. I'm like, it's a construction project. It's a stadium being built, and it doesn't even have a roof. Of course, it's going to flood. What do you expect? But anyways, the next phase will be conditioning and waterproofing of the entire third ring. And then after that stage is done, of course, the seats will be installed, and seat installation is expected to begin at the beginning of the summer. So as soon as the season is over, by then, the waterproofing and conditioning of all that cement foundation will be done, and they're going to start installing the seats. And, of course, once the seats are all done, that's when we're really going to be able to appreciate the magnitude of the Camp Nou. And, again, I will be posting a video of my visit to the Camp Nou this week, so stay tuned to the channel. Now, aside from, of course, working on the conditioning and waterproofing of the cement and the seats, the construction company is also going to be working on the VIP seats because the VIP seats are right under the third ring. So it goes first ring, second ring, VIP boxes, and then third ring. VIP boxes and third ring are not done. They're being built. So that's going to be the next step. And of course, the VIP boxes, that's going to be kind of like the major economic driver of the stadium, because those boxes are going to be selling for a lot of money, ladies and gentlemen. Now, that's not the only development in regards to the Spotify Camp Nou, because Barcelona also are working on other things, including the supporters section. And you might say, Mo, what are you talking about? Supporters section is back. Yes, they are back, but not fully. Right now, As you know, Barcelona have been negotiating with the old groups that comprise the supporter section before they were suspended. Negotiations are ongoing. Therefore, so far, 800 supporters are allowed into the supporter section. But as the negotiations continue to see what other groups can be included to be part of the supporter section, that eventually is going to grow to 1,250, 1,250 people. So right now we only have 800 people in the supporter section. Eventually, as the negotiations continue, that's going to grow to 1,250 people who will be in charge of course, you know, motivating the team, encouraging the team. By the way, what a difference it makes. You know, I was in Barcelona 2 seasons ago at Montjuic with no supporter section. It was absolutely dead. The stadium, it looked like it was a library or a cemetery. Now, when I got back to the Camp Nou last week, they had the supporter sections, and what a difference it makes. And to think that it was only 800 people, once it grows to 1,250, obviously it's gonna be much, much better. And just wait until they put the roof, because the way the new stadium, the new Camp Nou is designed, it's in cone shape to make it louder, kind of like the Premier League stadiums. But once you put the roof in, the sound's gonna go up, hit the roof, and come back down. So it's gonna be super, super loud. I cannot wait for this stadium to be completely done. Now, there are some problems, of course, that I told you about previously. For example, there's very low visibility in the seats that are by the goal. A lot of fans have been complaining that the TV, those TV monitors where the ads are displayed, they're blocking their vision in the north goal, which is the latest section that just reopened. So they're gonna have to figure that out. For now, they have blocked close to, I think it's 800 seats. So those seats are not for sale. They're gonna have to figure out a way around that, because otherwise, if those seats just sit empty all year, that's just lost money. That's millions and millions of euros that the club will lose. Now, more updates, and this one is in regards to Raphinha, the Brazilian, because as you know by now, Raphinha was injured in the friendly match against between Brazil and France in Boston. He will be out for 5 weeks, and the new news is that Barcelona have given him a special permission to recover in Brazil. Raphinha has traveled to Brazil, to his homeland, to his native land, and he's going to recover there, not only physically, but also mentally, because they said that this injury has really been a big psychological blow to the player. We all know how competitive Raphinha is. And of course, to not be able to play for the next 5 weeks has weighed heavily on him. And like I said before, honestly, Raphinha, this is your fault, bro. You knew you had discomfort. Why the hell did you risk it? For a friendly. I understand if this was a qualifying match and you're like, all right, I feel discomfort, I might get injured, but that's okay. I'm going to risk it because, you know, me risking it means that my country's going to go to the World Cup. I get it. But for a friendly match, bro, come on. That's just irresponsible. Now, let's look at the matches that Raphinha is going to be missing. I got the schedule here pulled up. Of course, it was 5 weeks from last week. So it's going to be, of course, Atletico Madrid, the match against Atletico Madrid in La Liga. A match against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League quarterfinals, match against Espanyol in La Liga, match against Atletico Madrid again in the Champions League, match against Celta Vigo in La Liga, match against Getafe in La Liga, Osasuna in La Liga, and right now they're expecting, this is not for sure, obviously it's all going to depend on how well Raphinha recovers, that Raphinha could be back by May 10th against Real Madrid. So lots of important matches against 3 matches against Atletico Madrid, which is the 2 quarterfinals of the Champions League, possibly the first leg of the semifinal of the Champions League if we make it, if we qualify, and then Atletico Madrid in La Liga, Espanyol, Celta, Getafe, all difficult opponents in La Liga, all opponents that we need to win because remember, we're only leading by 4 points. That's not a lot of margin, so we cannot afford to drop points in this final stage of the league. Now, from bad news, we move on to good news because, of course, the bad news is Raphinha is going to be out for 5 weeks. We already knew that. But the good news is that, ladies and gentlemen, Jules Koundé and Alejandro Balde continue to train with total normalcy. Of course, they've been injured for quite some time. Barcelona have been playing without their starting fullbacks. Just think about that. That's pretty crazy. Both of them, not just one. And while both Koundé and Balde continue to train with the group, continue to train with total normalcy, and it's expected that both of them could be available for the first match back, which is on April 4th against Atletico Madrid in La Liga. Hopefully that is true. Hopefully that becomes that objective is met because We need all of our players healthy. Now, Balde and Kunde continue to train with the players who were not called up to their national teams, including Wojciech Szczesny, Marc Casado, Gavi, Gerard Martin, Eric Garcia, and a few players from the Barca Athletic, such as Alvaro Cortés, Tony Marquez, and Emilio Bernat, who is the goalkeeper. Now, more good news, because not only is Balde and Kunde expected to be back by the April 4th against Atletico Madrid, but Eric Garcia is also expected to be back by then. Of course, Eric Garcia missed, I think it was 1 or 2 matches due to injury. He kind of came back in the last match against Rayo Vallecano, and then he had to leave because of discomfort. Well, he should be available for that first match back. And then there's, of course, Frankie de Jong, who's expected that he won't be back by the first match against Atletico Madrid in La Liga, but he's expected to be back by the first leg of the quarterfinals of the Champions League against Atletico Madrid. So that's also great, great news. So Eric Garcia, Kunde, and Balde back on the first match after the break. Frankie de Jong back in the second match after the break against Atletico de Madrid. So good news in that regards, and that concludes all the news for the first segment. Let's move on to the comments section. But first, let's talk about something real quick, because yesterday, of course, we talked about that bombshell news of Bartomeu stating how Laporta, because he inflated the losses, Barcelona lost its financial fair play, which did not allow the club to register Messi. And I got a lot of comments saying, Mo, why would we believe Bartomeu? You know, he's a liar. He's a bad president. And yes, you are right. Normally, I would say yes. I don't believe a single word of this guy. After all, he is the worst president in the history of the club. He has done a lot of damage to the club. And let's not forget, he's been going on this But Did You Die tour, where it's like, oh, it wasn't too bad. You know, we almost went bankrupt. But hey, I won 13 titles and blah, 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 blah. So normally I would say, yes, you're right. That's a fair point. It is Bartomeu. Why should we believe him? But once you start adding things up, you realize that maybe there is some truth to what he's saying. For example, Victor Font has been saying this for a while, way before the elections. Victor Font has been saying this for the past 3-4 years. Every time the club closes its fiscal year and releases the numbers, Victor Font always comes out and explains why those numbers don't add up and don't make sense, and that Laporta is inflating the numbers. He's been saying that for years. So you're like, all right, whatever. Political opponent. Maybe he's just making things up. Bartomeu now comes out, says the same thing. And you're like, all right, now it's two people, but they both could be lying, right? But then you remember that in 2023, UEFA fined Barcelona 500,000 euros, so €500,000, for fudging the numbers. UEFA said, hey, you're fudging the numbers. We're fining you 500,000. Don't do it again. Maybe that was a mistake. Maybe it was an accounting mistake. You're like, all right, that was in 2023. And then in 2025, last year, UEFA fines Barcelona again for fudging the numbers. And they fine us this time 60 million euros. They say, hey, we told you 2 years ago to stop doing it. We gave you a small fine. You continue to do it. So now we're hitting you with a 60 million euro fine. Now, Laporta was able to negotiate down from 60 to 15 million euros. But nonetheless, that hasn't gone away. For the next, I think, 2 or 3 seasons, UEFA is going to be closely monitoring Barcelona's financial fair play and numbers. And if there's anything off, the fine goes back up from 15 to 60 million euros. Now, when that news broke that UEFA had fined Barcelona 60 million, everybody applauded Laporta. Like, yeah, good job. He negotiated down from 60 to 15. And it's like, how is that a good job? He just cost the club 15 million euros. That's a lot of freaking money. Also, how is it, yay, sure, 15 is better than 60, but he's the one who caused this fine. This is like setting fire to your own house, then extinguishing the fire and saying, look, I'm a hero. I extinguished the fire. Yeah, the fire you started. So Laporta cost us 15 million euros, which could still be 60 if UEFA finds any discrepancies in the numbers for the next 2 or 3 seasons, and yet people applauded him. So, yes, it is a fair question. Why should we believe Bartomeu? But once you start adding up, Victor Font's been saying this for years. Bartomeu's saying this. UEFA fines us in 2023 for this. UEFA fined us again in 2025 for this. Now we're under the microscope with UEFA. And then you're like, okay, now it's too much evidence adding up. So either everyone is lying, everyone except Laporta, or here's a crazy idea. Maybe there is some truth to the fact that Laporta is fudging the numbers. Just say. Anyways, let's do the comment section, and then we are going to talk about Andreas Christensen. Because, yes, we have news. Zaidi says, Bo, I hope we signed Bastoni. I hope so too, my friend. And I got some news in regards to Bastoni. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. And P4K Chema says, let's take Souza from Spurs. And then Barca Mama says, welcome back, Bo. Thank you, Barca Mama. It's really good to be back home. You know, I like traveling. But at the end of the day, you always end up missing your home. You miss your bed, even your bathroom, like showering in your own bathroom. I know it sounds weird, but just a shower. But hey, your home is your home. And as much as I like to travel, I like to be back. It's always good to be home. And of course, it's always good to be here in my setup. Instead of a small, tiny camera with a laptop in this like tiny hotel desk. So it's definitely good to be back. And of course, it's good to be back here with you guys, my Barca News family. And Ferrari says, hi, Mo, out of all of our options for a striker this summer, who would you pick? Ooh. That's a tough one because, honestly, our options are not that great. There was Vlahovic who got ruled out, right? Barcelona don't want him. There is Kane who looks like going to renew. If he's still an option, I would go with him. Yes, he's old, but he can give us a good 2 seasons until Barcelona have enough money to sign someone who, a proper 9. Julian Alvarez, not a fan of that option at all because he's not truly a center forward. Don't get me wrong, amazing player. Anybody would be lucky to have him. I can't believe people are comparing him to Ferran. They're like, oh, Ferran has more goals. And I was like, you seriously comparing Julian Alvarez to Ferran? I mean, they're miles apart, okay? Miles apart. Let's make that very clear. And that's the problem, right, with just compare players based on stats. I used to talk about this a lot on the channel. I stopped then because I stopped seeing it in the comment section, but I guess we got to rehash it. Numbers alone is only half the equation, okay? That's only one side of the coin. In order to truly determine how good a player is, you have to do both a qualitative and a quantitative analysis, right? The quantitative, that's the easy part. That's the numbers, right? That's easy. Anybody could do that. A monkey could do that. A 5-year-old could do that. Player X has 5 goals. Player Y has 4 goals. Therefore, X is better than Y, right? Pretty easy. Anybody could do it. The hard part is doing the qualitative analysis, right? Because that's non-tangible things. That's things that you cannot quantify, things like, how well does the player read the field? How well can he anticipate his opponent's moves? How well can he anticipate his teammates' moves and therefore make the proper run or make the proper pass? How well can he read space? How well is he without the ball? In other words, football IQ. That's the qualitative analysis. And that's something that's very difficult to do. And that's why people like coaches, scouts, they make a lot of money because they're good at doing it, right? Most of us, we can't. And because we can't, most people just stick to the numbers because that's, again, a monkey could do that. But that's only one side of the coin. And to say, oh, look, Ferran has more goals than Julian Alvarez, therefore Ferran is better, it's a pretty idiotic argument to make. Not to mention, they're in completely 2 different teams. I mean, Atletico Madrid, very, very defensive team. Ferran Torres, if he was playing at Atletico Madrid, he would have way less goals than he has here at Barca. Any player would. Messi would have less goals at Atletico Madrid than he did at Barca because they're very, very defensive, right? Same thing, if you bring Julian to Barca, he's going to have more goals at Barca than he does at Atletico because, again, Barcelona, highly offensive team. So those comparisons are very simplistic, very shallow comparisons. Again, not in favor of the move for Julian, but let's at least be fair about why we're not in favor of Julian rather than just making some asinine, simplistic argument like Ferran has more goals than Julian. We could do better, okay? We could do better. But I guess to answer your question would be Kane. That's the only one that makes sense to me. But it looks like he's gonna renew. He's gonna stay at Bayern, so I don't think that's even real. Let's see. Waffles. Ooh, I want waffles now. Says, I still think Senesi will be a great pickup for Barca. Isn't he? His last year of contract, Barca should at least consider. He is on the list. He is on the list of players Barcelona considering. But of course, Deco's number one option is Bastoni, right? And the Rebel Pilot says apparently Cucurella is open to the idea of coming back to Barca if they come knocking. Cucurella has been open to the idea of coming back to Barca for quite some time. I mean, all academy players, when they leave, they always want to come back. But I mean, possibilities of that happening are extremely, extremely low because of price, right? And Derek says, hi, Mo. Good morning. Watching you from Nigeria. Please, I want to ask, what do you think it would have Victor Osimhen in our team? I believe a better forward for our next season. Osimhen will be a great option. But of course, price is one thing. I don't think we should spend 100 or 90 million on Julian or on Osimhen or on anyone, honestly. Because we are still in a very financially delicate position. People keep forgetting that. People like throw around numbers, 90 million, 100 million, like it's nothing. It's not nothing. It's a lot of freaking money. I know it's not yours, so it's difficult to think about the magnitude and how much money that is. But truly sit back and think about what it means to spend 90 or 100 million euros. It's a lot of freaking money. And right now, we're in a very delicate financial situation where we're still not out of the red. People think, oh, that's it, we're out of danger. We're not. Our debt has grown under Laporta, okay? It's grown. We went from 1.2 billion to 1.5 billion. Our debt is still growing. We're still spending more than we're actually making. So we're in no condition to be spending 90, 100 million. We're not. Whether it be Osimhen or Julian. I think our only option would be either someone like Kane. Yeah, it's still 60 million, it's still a lot of money, but it's less than 100. It's 40 million less than 100. Or bite the bullet and bring someone young and promising and hope that that player can learn quickly from Lewy for the next season, which of course is not the ideal because that's not how you win Champions League. It's not by bringing a 22, 23-year-old, but you have to do with what you're given. And right now, very tight financial situation. Anyways, let's get back to the news and we'll do more comments, but we do have to talk about Andreas Christensen, who today received the 2 times Tour de France winner Jonas Vingard. I don't know how to say his name. But he's Danish. He's a cyclist. He's won 2 Tours de France. Today he visited the Camp Nou and the Barcelona facilities. And Andreas Christensen, since he's also Danish, they're both Danish, welcomed him and gave him a tour. Now, the news is not that. I don't think that's that exciting to make it a whole segment that Jonas Vingard went and visited Andreas Christensen, but or visited the Barcelona facilities. But the news is that, guess what? You could probably guess without me even saying it. Christensen is injured again. Yes. I don't know whether to laugh or cry, but Christensen's recovery will take now an extra month. He was supposed to be back towards the end of March, which is the end of March, but now it looks like it's going to take him another month to fully recover because his knee still hasn't healed. So Christensen's, it looks like he's going to be injured until May now. He's been injured that whole season. He was injured all of last season. He's going on 2 seasons. And let's not forget that there is still an outstanding contract renewal offer that Barcelona already made to Andreas Christensen, looking to extend his contract by 2 more years as a thank you, because apparently we're now in the business of just handing out contracts as a thank you. Hey, Deco, Laporta, if you guys want to thank me for covering Barca news for the last 4 years and want to throw a contract my way, apparently that's what we do now. So please send me one. You don't have to pay me that much. I'm not looking for crazy. I'm not looking for millions, a few 100,000. I'd be happy. But yes, Barcelona made a contract offer renewal to Christensen. Of course, it is tied to his performance, where he would make half the salary if he plays 30 to 40% of the matches, then that goes up. If he plays 40 to 50% of the matches, salary goes up more. And then if he plays more than 50% of the matches, then his salary doubles, or other words, becomes what it is right now, right? Because he starts at half the salary, doubles means he starts making the same if he plays more than 50% of the matches, which is good. At least we're not just giving him a regular contract. At least we're giving him or offering him a contract that's tied directly to his performance or directly to his injuries. Even though I don't think we should be offering him any contracts at all, because the guy has been injured for 2 years, 2 seasons. I mean, what are we gonna have him sit on the bench? Even if he's earning half the salary, and what if he's still injured for the next season or two? Again, even if it's half the salary, that's still millions of euros that you're throwing away. Are we really in a position to be throwing away money? No, we're not. Now, Christensen so far has not answered the contract renewal offer, even though Barcelona made an ultimatum, said, look, this is our final offer. You either accept it or avuidize. But he hasn't answered because it's reported that Christensen, is looking to recover and then search for a better offer, one that suits him more. Imagine one that offers him more money, and so he can leave, on as a free agent come this summer. Because free agent, sometimes it's good to leave as a free agent because then you get a signing bonus. So just know that Christensen is going to be out for another month because he hasn't fully recovered. There is an outstanding contract renewal offer from Barcelona that so far Christensen has not responded to, because he's looking to recover and try to look for a better offer. I honestly would retract that offer. After this news, I'll be like, you know what? Never mind. Fuck that. Boom. Bye. And this is nothing against Christensen. Amazing defender. But doesn't matter how good you are. What's the point if you can't even play because you're always injured? Anyways, let's get back to the comment section, and then we are going to talk about Bastoni, which seems to be everyone's favorite topic. Bad Boy says, welcome back, Mo. Hope your vacation went well. It did. It was very, very nice, even though I didn't get any rest because I was constantly waking up super early, going, hitting the street, sightseeing, and coming back, sleeping. Well, no, coming back to the hotel, doing videos, and then sleeping. But it was nice. It was definitely nice, but it's good to be back home. What I'm not looking forward to is going back to work tomorrow, because I glanced very quickly at my email, and I have on my inbox, and I have 900 emails. It's not hyperbole. That's an exact number. It was actually like 892. 900 emails. That's what I gotta get through tomorrow. Not to mention voicemails. I didn't even look at that. I don't know how many voicemails I have. Anyways, it's not gonna be fun, but it is good to be back. It is good to be back. Derek says, hi, Mo. Good morning. Watching you from Nigeria. Please, I want to ask you. Oh, wait. I already read that. Solomon says, hi, Mo. Solomon from Gambia. I hope Rashford gives a spectacular performance in this last stretch of the season. I dislike his inconsistency in front of goal. I hope so, too, my friend. We are going to need Rashford to step it up. We're going to need him to be consistent, and we're going to need him to come through, because this is the final stretch of the season. I mean, this is where we either win or lose La Liga, and we either win or lose the Champions League, right? Any slip up can cost us the competition, either one, right? So we're going to need him to step up. So I hope so too. And Edward says, do you think Flink will throw away? Oh, not throw away. I don't know why I said Reddit. We'll throw away. We'll throw Xavi spot and in at the deep end and start against Atleti with Gavi in the team. He will kick Atleti in the air like they kick us. I don't think so. Because that's not a match to gamble on like that. Because not only is it a gamble, which, don't get me wrong, it could pay off. And Xavi's spot could end up giving us one hell of a performance, but it could also go bad really quickly, because at the end of the day, doesn't matter how good or how talented Xavi Spart is, he still lacks experience, right? He's only played 2-3 matches in first division. I mean, that's no experience. So, I mean, even Messi with 2-3 matches in first division would be, holy crap, what am I doing? Because experience is big, right? In everything. Doesn't matter how skilled or talented you are. Experience can make you or break you, as far as performance, of course. Also, it's usually not good to throw in academy players like that into big matches, because since they do lack the experience, If they end up making mistakes, that could end up costing them because it could mess up their confidence. It also messes up the confidence of the fans in them. And then from there, it's a spiral, right? It's like the mistakes you make like in that big match that start weighing on you. So then the next match, you make more mistakes, which starts to weigh on you more, which causes you to make more mistakes. And it's just a downward spiral. So it's never a good situation to throw someone with no experience, someone that's young, into a difficult match like that because it could end up punishing you because they could end up making some gruesome mistakes because of the lack of experience and punishing them because then those mistakes can end up haunting them and causing them to lose confidence in themselves. Devin says, Yo, Mo, greetings. I don't think Barca needs to spend a ton of load of money on a striker. The club is struggling. A striker with energy and a center back, the club would be fine. Obviously, ideally, you want a world class striker. That's how you win Champions Leagues and championships in general. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, we're not in that position. We're not in a position to do it, right? It sucks, but it is what it is. I would love to. I'd love to have a house on a beach, but I can't, right? And you just gotta do with what you have. Let's see. Cizo says, Hey Mo, welcome back. Have you ever thought of making a video on how to become a club Soshi and explain the perks? I'm super interested and would love to join some trips, but don't know where to start. That's actually a really good idea. I wanted to film at the Soshi Club, but they told me no. So when you watch the Spotify Camp Nou video, you're gonna see me walking up to the Soshi's office, and then the filming ends there because they don't allow videotaping in there. But I was gonna make a video inside the Soshi office and show you how it all works, but they said no. But I can still, of course, make a video explaining stuff. That's a good suggestion. Thank you, my friend. Surya says, gotta say, you're a very natural blogger and very extroverted. Two, I tried to do it once. I got shy talking to camera in public. Any tips? Well, thank you, my friend. Honestly, the only tip is just consistency. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it. I mean, the first few times I did it, it's very weird because like right now, I'm looking at a lens. There's a big lens. I'm just staring at it, and it's weird, right? I mean, now I don't think about it because I've been doing it for so long. But the first few times that I did it, yeah, it's strange. I mean, I'm talking to a freaking lens. like, I wish you guys could see my POV right now. And yeah, it's weird, but the more you do it, the more natural it becomes, and then you stop thinking about it. I mean, you could actually go back and watch my first videos on this channel, and they're awful. They're terrible. I mean, they're still not amazing, but it's much better than they used to be. I'm just sitting there like all awkward, all tense. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. Barcelona is going to sign Jules Koundé. Like, it's awful. It's awful. You could actually go hit videos on the videos tab, and then there's a filter. I just put oldest to newest. You'll see the first videos I ever posted on this channel. Terrible. Terrible. I watch them every now and then, and I cringe. So, honestly, the only tip is just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. And then naturally, you're going to get better. It's going to become more natural to you. You're going to think less about it. So, yeah, that's it, man. Consistency. Everything in life, it's all about consistency. Defiant says Cucurella or Cancelo or sell Balde and keep both. No, I would not sell Balde. And Cucurella over Cancelo, of course. I mean, the age difference alone is enough for me to say that. Cancelo's towards the end of his career. But yeah, Cucurella. But no, I would not sell Balde either. And I mean, he says, I don't agree on selling Olmo. We are not getting a value as high as low, as high as how much we paid. Plus, he has been better this season. No, we're never gonna get that value because that's the problem, right? We overpay for players, and then their value from there just goes down. Or we sign players who are old, and then like Lewy, right? When you sign them, that was the highest he was gonna be worth because once you're past your prime, right? It's a bell curve, right? Start as young, your value goes up, goes up, goes up, goes up. You hit your prime, which is around, 25, 26, 27, 28. And then once you exit your prime around 29, 30, then your value starts to go down. So your value is going to be the highest up here, right? When you're in your prime. Dani Olmo is in his prime years. So right now, this is the highest value he has. From there, it's just gonna start to go down. Not yet. He's still there, but um, we definitely overpaid for him. He was never. He's just not worth 60 million. You know. And here's the thing. This is Olmo being inconsistent is nothing new. By the way, he was already inconsistent before, so we already knew that, and we already knew about his injuries and him being injury prone, and we still paid 60 million, which to me is just Deco being terrible at his job because of course we're never gonna get those 60 million. We're never gonna get that. We're never gonna get more. We're just not because we had already once we paid 60 million for him, it was already too much because you gotta take it talent wise. If he was consistent, yeah, he's worth 60, maybe even more. Talent wise, he's an incredibly talented player, but he's a very inconsistent player, very injury prone player. So that has to go into consideration, and that brings down the price, right? It's kind of like when you buy a car, right? The car has a price, and then you start looking around. Okay, you see a dent, you see another dent. Okay, then the price starts to go down. You're like, all right, well, it looks like I'm gonna have to replace the tires because they're pretty worn out. So now the price goes down more. It's the same thing. Like talent wise, Olmo is worth a lot because he's a very talented player. But then you start taking these other things into consideration: his inconsistency, his injury proneness, and then all of a sudden the price starts to go down. But no, Barca went and paid 60 million, which is way more than what he was worth. Curran says, I hope Barcelona do not look to renew his contract because it makes no sense. He's too injury prone. I'm guessing you're talking about Christensen, and yes, 100% agree. The offer has already been made. It's on the table. So at this point, if Christensen accepts, then that's it. He's going to renew for 2 more years. And Bayern Munich. Wow, Bayern Munich. Hello, Bayern Munich. Says, when did you become Barcelona fan? I became a Barcelona fan back in 2005, 2006. It was when Barcelona signed Ronaldinho or 2004. What year did Barcelona sign Ronaldinho? I was a kid, so let me see. Let's Google it right now. Ronaldinho. Let's see. Barcelona signed Ronaldinho in 2003. Okay, so 2003. Yes. So I watched the first World Cup that I really, really paid attention to was the 2002 South Korea and Japan World Cup. Right. I was 12 years old. It was the first time I was actually watching it. Like I remember the 1998 World Cup because I had the Panini book and I was collecting the stickers. But in 1998, I was 8 years old. So I wasn't really yeah, I liked collecting the stickers, but I wasn't really actually actively watching the matches. I remember watching the final, the France versus Brazil final. But in the 2002 World Cup, that was the first World Cup where I truly watched every single match. Right, I was 12 years old and watched every match, and that's when Brazil were crowned, and that was my favorite squad ever. You know, Ronaldo Nazario, Ronaldinho, Roberto Carlos, Cafu, Rivaldo, favorite squad ever. And my favorite out of this favorite squad was Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho. So when Barcelona signed Ronaldinho the following summer, I was like, all right, Barcelona's my team, right? I think I was 13 years old, almost 13. And that's when I started following Barcelona. It was Dino. It was Dino who made me a Barca fan because I love Dino, man. He could have been easily the greatest player ever, but I don't know what is it with Brazilian players, man. They love to party. They love to party. All right, one last comment, and then we'll go back to the. Let's see. Suleiman says, "Hey Mo, how are you doing today? Hope you enjoyed your stay in London. Which area did you visit? Which was your best?" So I was staying in South Kensington, and it was my first time in London. So I, of course, went and did all the tourist stuff. You know, I went to Buckingham Palace and Westminster, and went into Westminster Abbey. I went into St. Paul's Cathedral. What else did I do? I went to, is it Covenant Square, Piccadilly Circus. I went to Harrods because I was like, hey, let me check it out. It's like the British Macy's. That was interesting. Really nice store. What else did I go? I'm trying to think. Oh, I went to the British Museum. That was really cool. So yeah, it was like sightseeing. And then from there, I went to Edinburgh. But anyways, let's get back to the comments. Not comments, I mean to the news, because we do have to talk about the man of the hour, Alessandro Bastoni, the Inter Milan center back who Barcelona are looking to sign during the summer transfer market. Now, as you know by now, because we've talked about this a lot, Bastoni has been on Deco's radar for quite some time. He's been his favorite option ever since Inigo Martinez left, and Barcelona were like, all right, we need to sign someone. Deco had always had his eyes set on Bastoni, but of course, that whole time Inter Milan were insisting that Bastoni's not for sale. He was untouchable, and therefore they weren't going to sell him. And if they were going to ask for a lot of money to discourage clubs from trying to make offers. But this has changed recently. I think about last month or a few weeks ago. Where now Inter Milan, of course, have a financial problem. They need to balance their books, and they need to make big sales. And Bastoni is no longer on the non-transferable list. Instead, it's Lautaro Martinez, for example. He's on the non-transferable list. Bastoni is not, and therefore Inter Milan are open to his sale this summer. They've even met with his agent in order to try to see if, to see what the situation is, and to, tell the agent how much he should be asking from the clubs who want to make offer, which is around 70 to 80 million euros. Now, Bastoni has already given the green light to Barcelona. And as such, his agent has already opened up talks with Barcelona. So right now, negotiations are ongoing between Barcelona and Bastoni. This is, of course, to agree on the personal terms, how long his contract would be, how much his salary would be, any variables, any bonuses, etc., etc., etc. Once the agreement is fully reached between Bastoni and Barca, Barcelona will then have to sit down with Inter Milan and, of course, reach an agreement on that transfer fee, which we'll see how much the Italian club will want. Now, what's the new news? The new news is that, well, more reports continue to confirm that Bastoni looks like he is leaving this summer, because now Gazzetta dello Sport, Gazzetta dello Sport, I'm Mario. They are reporting that Inter Milan are already in the market looking for a replacement. Yeah, they're looking at a few options, including Mario Gila from Lazio, Joel Ordonez, the Ecuadorian guy from Club Brugge, or Omar Solet from Udinese. So Inter Milan looks like they made their peace that Bastoni is leaving. They're already even looking for his replacement. So every passing day looks like more and more likely that Bastoni could be coming to Barca. Now, of course, it's not a done deal. We still have to reach an agreement with Bastoni himself, and we know negotiations are ongoing. And then we have to reach an agreement with Inter Milan in regards to the transfer fee. But it's looking more and more like it. Anyway, so let's get back to the comment section, and then we are going to talk about Dani Olmo. Let's see. Wilfred says, "Have you watched Aslani? I've never seen him, and I'm worried about Bundesliga attacking sensations." Actually, I'm planning to do a reaction video to Fisnik Aslani, so be on the lookout for that, and then we can watch them together. I've never seen like a full game of his, because I don't really follow the Bundesliga that much unless it's like a big game. But we'll do one. Don't worry. Let's see. Oh, we have a donation. Hold on. I hadn't seen it. Nathan with a donation. Let's fucking go. Thank you, my friend, for your generosity. Sorry, I didn't see the donations earlier on. The comments are rolling in quick, and I guess I lost my training, my ability to spot comments. But Nathan says, "Hi Mo, you got a donut on? Huh? You got a donati? Huh? Huh?" I'm not understanding the comment. Help me out, guys. Help me out. Nathan, please explain to me what are we talking about? You got I'm so stupid. Oh my god. I'm so stupid. I need to go to sleep. I slept 4 hours and then I flew for, let's see, I flew 1 hour to from Edinburgh to Dublin and then an 8 hour flight to New York. A donation, a donation. Okay. Oh my goodness. I'm tired. I'm tired. But yes, I do have a donation. Let's fucking go. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you so much for your generosity. I really, really appreciate it. And Java the Hut says, I don't think there's anything wrong with Kunde or Balde. They just need a mid-level players. And if we do sell them, who would bring people? Don't realize that. Um, the thing with Kunde and Balde, we've seen what they're capable of. They're very good fullbacks. The problem is this season that their form has gone down a lot. And I truly believe it's because they have no competition. Because competition matters. Competition is what fuels us, not just players, but, even at work and personal lives, like competition is what fuels us. It's what drives us to be better and to continue pushing, right? I mean, this is why they always say, like when they ask, do you prefer to be a big fish in a small pond or a small fish in a big pond, right? And it's always to be a small fish in a big pond because that's gonna drive you, right? Seeing that you're not the most successful one. There's so many more people more successful than you. That's gonna drive you to want to work hard and get better and better and better and climb that ladder. As opposed to if you're the big fish in a small pond and seeing that you're the most successful guy, you're gonna be like, right? And that applies to all matters of life and more so in sports, right? Because athletes, highly, highly competitive creatures, more competitive than your average human being. And without competition, consciously or subconsciously, that affects them because they're like, I mean, think about it when you're an athlete, right? And you're coming up through the academy. What's your goal when you're in the academy? It's to make it all the way through the ranks, eventually get promoted to the first team, and then become a starter, right? That's what drives you since you're a little kid. And that goes for any football player. Right? You're 4 or 5 years old, you start, and your goal is first team starter. And you're like working hard, training hard every day in, day out, week after week, month after month, year after year, and you're climbing, man. Under 10, under 12, under 18, Barca Athletic. Boom, first team. Come on, let's go. I'm almost there. Come on, come on. Bam, starter. I made it. So then you let your foot off the gas. But if all of a sudden there's someone who also wants to make it and right there is breathing down your neck and you're like, oh shit, wait a minute. I made it here, but now I got to keep that position. And this motherfucker is really good. He's about to take my spot. So now I got to start pushing hard again. Right now, Kunde and Balde don't have that. They really don't. Who's going to take their spot? Nobody. So that's what they need. They need competition. Competition makes us better, whether you're an athlete or at work or wherever. Barca Newsboy says, "Hey Mo, happy to be back. I think that Bastoni is possible because of how poor the Italy clubs are. Man, that's actually a concern. How so many clubs are struggling financially because if clubs continue to struggle like this, where it's only gonna degrade the sport, right? Because the more the clubs struggle, the more monopoly the top ones have. And then if the wealth keeps getting concentrated more and more and more at the top, it's just gonna be 2, 3 clubs, super clubs in the world signing everybody, and then everyone else is just struggling. It's gonna be kind of like the French league, where it's just PSG, and then everyone else is absolute shit. And that's why the French league is always struggling to sell their TV rights because nobody wants to watch that crap. Who the hell wants to watch a one-team league? So I don't know. There's gonna have to be some changes in how football is ran and financial for play, money, all that, because there's a lot of clubs struggling, man. There's a lot of clubs struggling, and that's not good for the sport. It's not good for the sport. The last thing we need is a league on style world of football, you know. Anyways, let's do the last bit of news and then we'll do more comments. I promise. Let's see. Well, let's talk about Dani Olmo, because right now there is serious interest in the Barcelona midfielder from the Saudi club Al Qadisiyah. Now, Al Qadisiyah have been tracking Olmo for quite some time. In fact, they've even sent emissaries to Spain to watch Olmo in person, both with Barcelona and with the Spanish national team. And it looks like Al Qadisiyah are now preparing an offer. They haven't made it yet. They're preparing an offer, a highly lucrative offer that they are describing in Saudi media outlets as an offer that's going to be very difficult for Dani Olmo to say no to. In other words, they're going to throw a lot of money at him and hope that the money lures him away from Barcelona to the Saudi league. Now, I personally don't see this happening. Dani Olmo is a Colé through and through. He came up through the Barca Academy. He left Barcelona because he was looking, same old story as always. Impatient, want to get minutes somewhere else, want to get more money somewhere else instead of just following the club's plan. And ever since he left, he was always looking to come back every summer. Barcelona linked to Olmo, Barcelona linked to Olmo, Barcelona linked to Olmo. And finally, his wish became true, and boom, he came back to his boyhood club. And I just don't see him wanting to leave his boyhood club, something he worked very hard at coming back to go to Saudi. I understand maybe if we're talking about, I don't know, Bayern Munich or Arsenal, some big club, maybe that could be tempting. And even then, I'd still think Olmo would say no because, again, this is his boyhood club. This is his home. But to Saudi, that's even more difficult. I mean, we're talking about a much more inferior league, different culture, country that's very far away from home for him. I don't know. I don't see it happening, but just know that Al Qadisiyah have been tracking Olmo for quite some time. They've sent scouts to watch him, and now they are preparing an offer that they think will be an offer that Olmo cannot say no to. I doubt it. But anyways, that is all the news for the podcast. So let's do more comments and then we'll end this. And of course, later tonight, I will be uploading a video because there's more news. There's more news. There's always more news. Let's see. Where did we leave off? Nicholas says, Mo, love from Trinidad. I became a Barca fan when Rivaldo scored goals against Valencia in 2001. Man, I wish I would have been able to see Barca during the Rivaldo era. I watched, um, recordings of those matches, and what a beast, man. Rivaldo, what a beast. I mean, obviously, I used to watch him with Brazil, and I enjoyed him a lot, but I never saw him with Barca. Defiant says, damn, you make me feel old. I grew up watching Romario. I mean, I think we're both old, my friend. We're both old. I've seen also recordings of the Romario era, even though it was a short one, but it was definitely an impressive one. Imeric says 98. I was 11 and living in France. First World Cup I actually remember, but Kluivert and Rivaldo made a Barca fan. Yeah, I remember the 1998 World Cup. I just don't remember paying attention that much to it. I remember watching the final, wanting Brazil to win, and then France won 3-0. But yeah, man. Crazy to think about how much time has passed since those World Cups. Time truly does fly. Let's see. Barca Newsboy says, and also the Italy League is falling off and Inter project not better than Barcelona. The Italian League has been struggling since the early 2000s. Early 2000s, the Italian League was up there, man. It was competing for one of the best leagues in the world. And since then, it's just been a decline. It's sad. But I'm going to have to figure something out, or otherwise it's going to become, like the Portuguese league. No offense to the Portuguese league. DL1001 says, if Bastoni goes to Barca, what does it mean for Gerard Maldini? He would probably become a sub of Bastoni. So it kind of be like Coarsi and Bastoni as our two starters, and Maldini and maybe Eric Garcia as the substitutes, even though Eric Garcia could also play on the right and as a defensive mid. And Maldini could also alternate with Balde. Emerick says your Italian is as good as your French. You ain't lying, my friend. You ain't lying. Suleiman says, hey, Mo, I'm glad you had fun in London. You might want to let me know whenever you visit again in the future. I have got some really cool places that we can see together. That's awesome, my friend. Thank you for the invitation. Always the first time to a place, it's always, just doing the major attractions, the tourist stuff. But yeah, second time should be more like local stuff, local pubs, restaurants, things like that. But I had fun. London was cool. Edinburgh was cool, even though it was very windy and crazy weather, man, in Scotland. Wow, the weather's crazy. And Bayern Munich says, who is a bigger Barcelona legend, Cruyff or Messi? Oof, that's tough. That's tough. As a player, obviously Messi, right? Because Messi player obviously won a million things more than Cruyff player. But in general, I think I would go with fuck that stuff. I mean, on one hand, Messi is the greatest player in the history of the club and in the history of football, period. But on the other hand, Cruyff is what gave us the Barca DNA. Cruyff is won us the first Champions League. I don't know, man. That's a really close one. Maybe Messi by a tiny, tiny bit. But, I mean, the two of them are. I think Cruyff and Messi are the two most influential figures in the history of the club. Cruyff as a coach, even more so than Pep, even though Pep won more than Cruyff. But Cruyff is what gave us the Barca DNA. Without Cruyff, there is no Pep, right? Pep played under Cruyff, learned from Cruyff, and then became the coach. So without Cruyff, there is no Pep. So, and of course, Messi's Messi, man. Messi is Messi. Jeff says the fact that Balde is a La Masia kid needs competition to perform better is disgraceful. Watch Gabi, Cobarcillo, Mal, and Fermin fight for that badge. I don't think it's disgraceful. It's human nature. I mean, that's just how humans operate. Remember Jordi Alba? He didn't have competition for very long, and his form dipped too. I don't think it's disgraceful. It's just it's human nature, right? Hamad says, be clear in your explanation of the situation. UEFA's accounting policy seems to be different from La Liga. The issue lies with the sale of future TV rights in 2023. And then what happened in 2025, my friend? Renaro says, glad I caught the live. I just wanted to say I appreciate you, your channel. Thank you. No, thank you, my friend. And with that, we shall wrap it up because we're coming up on the 1 hour mark. I will be adding, of course, the chapters afterwards. And then later, when I post a video. But first, I got to go pick up my dog. I haven't seen my dog since I left. It's been a week and a half. So definitely miss him. I'm going to go pick him up, get some dinner. And then, of course, I will do the another video. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, the video of the Estadio Johan Cruyff is up. If you want to watch it, if you want to watch my visit to the Estadio Johan Cruyff. And then, of course, the Spotify Camp Nou video is coming this week. Hopefully midweek, I will be posting it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, be scars.